the change you wish to see in the world. These words, spoken by Mahatma Gandhi, have been plastered as a motto to live by for years. As members of a society and of a community and of a nation, it is our responsibility to do our part, to strive to make change, strive to be better, strive to improve, and strive to enact what we want to see in our world. Today, I want to implore all of you to go vote. I want you to understand just how much your vote matters and how much change you can create with that one visit to your voting booth. I'm a registered voter, and I have taken every chance I can to vote in an election since I turned 18 and was eligible. I want you guys to understand by the end of this speech what you can do to enact change and what you can do to strike a match in your community. First, I want to talk about the problem that we have, and that is low voter turnout. And I want to tell you what I think we should do about it. And then together we can visualize what the world would look like if we used my idea of a solution. So to begin, there's a main blaring issue here. That issue is that not enough people are going to the voting booth for everyone to be equally represented and for everyone's ideas to have been heard. We live in a society where people think there's a complaint department for life. We go to the easy access of the internet and social media to complain about our issues. But the only problem is our legislators and our local government and our state government and our federal government don't count tweets as votes. They don't take what you put on social media and apply that to their legislation. So the real way to create change is to show up to your local voting booth. When you're Instagramming, Facebooking, Snapchatting, tweeting, you're essentially mistaking your outspokenness for action. Science News gives us a few reasons why some people don't go vote. The first one being, you aren't automatically registered to vote when you turn 18. A remedy for this is I registered to vote when I was 15 applying for my driving permit. When I turned 18, they mailed me my voter registration card and I was ready to go. And I think we can all agree that you cannot function in today's society without some form of ID. Another reason is people aren't educated on what's being voted on. Another remedy for this, in the same way we use social media, in the same way we use the internet, it is your responsibility to be educated on the things going on in your society, in your community. You need to look up what's being voted on, you need to look up the facts on the situation, and you need to form your own opinion so that when you go to the voting booth, you know what you're talking about, and you know what is being asked of you. And this is becoming increasingly easier as time goes on, because people take time out of their day and people are actually paid to create a list of facts about what is being voted on in every election. So if you find one of those, you're ready to go to the election booth again. And the third reason is people don't like their party options. They don't want to be labeled as a Democrat, they don't want to be labeled as a Republican, and they don't want to be a Libertarian or a Green Party or however many others there are. Quick remedy for this: register as an independent. Then you are not bound by party lines. You can form your own opinion. You're not obligated to vote one way or another. Hattie Lindell is a professor at UT Austin, and she imparted on us some wise words about voting as well. She wants us to know just how important it is that we use our rights. She tells us that 63% of registered voters show up at the voting booth. That's not terrible numbers. However, only 75% of the voting age population is actually registered to vote. So when you take the 63% of the 75%, that's less than half Americans using their right to vote. And that's a big issue, because that means less than half Americans are deciding what's happening for all Americans. Here is my proposed solution. Get out and vote. Lead by example. Use your influence over friends, family, social media, anything you have, and tell people to go use their voice too. UShistory.org tells us voting is the heart of democracy. And voting is how we the people tell the government how we want to be governed. And if we think about it, voting is like a match. We only have one, but it only takes one to spark a fire. And you can read that one of two ways. You can take that as, okay, my vote doesn't matter, I only have one, so it doesn't matter if I go vote or not. And that influence will make other people think, oh, yeah, my vote doesn't matter either, like, who cares if I vote, it's just one. But when you accumulate people into that mindset, it doesn't just become one, it becomes hundreds and thousands of people that don't go vote. And so, opposite, you can use your influence and say, I'm going to use my one vote, and no matter if my side wins or loses, I know I did my part, and I know that I gave my voice an equal shot at being heard. The Journal of Transcultural Nursing also gives us a fresh perspective on voting as well. Voting is a lot of times how legislation is made for healthcare, education, and a slew of other things that affect our everyday life. So if we don't go vote, we are essentially putting those decisions in the hands of other people. She also gives us the perspective of women and people of minorities need to use their voice as well. It was fought for years that we have the right to vote, and it's almost insulting if we don't use it. And so, if we address this problem of low voter turnout, and we simply start voting, visualize a world where voter turnout continues to decrease like it has for the last 50 years. All the power in the country, all the decisions being made, will be in a handful of people. When you don't use rights, people think you don't care about those rights, and people take those rights away. It is important that we use our rights now so that we can continue to have them in the future. Now imagine in 10 years if people do start using their right to vote. Our society is falling into this pit of misery. Everyone's fighting, everyone's bitter about something because we think our opinion is more important than someone else's. That's the whole reason for the vote. We're giving our voice an equal chance, and we're letting other people have that equal chance as well. Imagine how much anger and pettiness would be gone if we all knew that we had done what we needed to do in order to make our voice heard. Yeah, we might not always be happy with the result, but we know that our voice was in the mix. And knowing that, we can move forward and try to improve, strive for progress, and move forward because we know in our minds that we did what we needed to do. Imagine if all 250 million eligible voters in America, it's an estimate for the 2020 election by the Census Bureau, showed up at the voting booth. We had a turnout for the 2016 election of 136 million maybe, that's almost 100 million more people that are letting their voice be heard. Think how much more representative of a nation that is, rather than just letting half of us decide for everyone. I want to leave you with this. In America, we have certain rights. In America, we are free to choose and use those rights as we see fit. It is our responsibility to do our part and to make our voices heard so that, one, the few people that do show up for elections now aren't making decisions for us as a whole, and so that we can use our own mind and make our own decisions and be a part of the rulemaking that we have to follow. And then imagine your future with your kids, your family, your parents, everyone. These rules affect all of us. And so we need to make sure that we, as individual members and people that care about our community and our surroundings, that we are doing our best in order to put forth the best foot possible. Does anyone have any questions about voting?
No, I agree with everything you said. I think the majority of the people that don't vote don't care.
And that was another issue as well, as especially people of my generation. We don't want to be bothered with it. They don't feel it's important enough. They don't feel they're heard. Like I said before, your one vote can change a situation either way.
Well, and the worst thing you want is having the few make decisions for the many. So that's the last thing you want.
Were your statistics about all aged Americans or like a certain age group?
My statistics are only for people of voting age, so 18 and older. And I believe there's not a cutoff, but I think it only goes up to 85 included in the statistics. Something like that.
Well, I'll certainly do what I can to get people to vote, but everybody needs to do that.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.